Mr.
Two.
Madison, where are you
So
tuning in from?
I'm in South America at the moment.
Ooh, where exactly?
Colombia, going to Ecuador in 2 weeks, a little bit. I have a boot camp in Mexico, doing Playa Carmen, Mexico. So South.
Wow. So, for the people who don't know you, you are a very well-esteemed ex-colleague of mine from the dating and
Yeah.
personal development times. We've been doing events together. We've been getting together in Miami and Vegas many times. You were the very person who lended me your suit jacket on one of my very first speeches back in days in Montreal.
Wow, you remember that? Yeah, that's true.
I
Then you went.
do.
Yeah. And also
And
something else. I gave you your first something else too. But that's maybe a story for another time in
and
Vegas.
you're very well renowned all across the world. You're touring the world, teaching young men self-confidence and dating advice and all that jazz, and people love you, and I love you too, man. And so that's why I thought,
Thank
hey,
you.
we should have Madison on the podcast as well. So there you are.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. It's good to talk to you because I know for a while when we were working together, it's pretty wild because when we worked together, everybody was in different countries internationally.
Yeah.
And there's times where I don't see people for a year. And it's always weird to have like brothers that you have like that you're working with. Sometimes you have falling outs with them, sometimes you don't, and you're very far away. And then you get together like once or twice a year and party. And that's cool. And I haven't seen you in person in forever. But I've been like watching what you're doing. And I've been like, just like, man, Max has like really like put himself out there and done amazing things. And I thought it'd be cool to hop on with you and like also to be able to talk about like just to fucking catch up about cool stuff that's
Yeah.
been happening, see your new perspectives about stuff, talk about things that I've been working on. People have been asking me like, when you talk to Max, like give him like the update on everything that happened in like the dating and self-confidence world and social world. Like, so we talk about that, talk about some business stuff as well. Just see
Love
like
it.
what your epiphanies are, like all that. I'm so excited for it, bro.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah, 100%. I mean, last time we saw each other must have been Miami or Vegas Summit 2000 ish, 18, 1918, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And tell me, give me the update. What's new in Madison's world right now? What is he up to? You're traveling, you're South America. Give me a full on
Yeah.
catch up here.
So full on catch up. I probably did more tour. You were touring a lot back in the day. Like you were touring to like we would tour back in the day to like we would have like physical complications with our health. So
Yeah.
I continued that speed. I did 125 cities. I did 45 countries. When I checked the maps, like on my travel, it's actually crazy because I traveled enough to go to the moon and back and halfway back into the moon. That's how many miles it was. It was like a ridiculous amount. And people don't really understand what that means. That means like we were the craziest social experiment in human history ever. Like before, like if my parents wanted to like go to like London from Africa, they had to hop on a boat for 2 weeks, and like some of them would like die on the way. You know what I mean? Like 2 months, and like we would do that over and over. So the amount of like reference experiences people don't know what that is, but amount of social experiences that we have and we understand about humankind is it's incredible. It's a feat never to be achieved again. Like even pilots that drive go on airplanes and air hostess, they don't go and
Yeah.
like assimilate in the culture. They go and they go and sit on a resort or a beach for like the 2 days they have off and come back. We weren't
Yeah.
like in the beach. We were like learning languages, just seeing what people understand, learning their cultures, the nuances of their culture, understanding their psychology. Like the amount of like information that goes into my like our computer brains before we make a social decision is incredible, and I don't think people really understand that. But
Mm.
anyways, that's what we did. That's what we did. And what yeah, and I'm continuing to do that. I've been like really wondering like what the next chapter for me is going to be. Um I still have a relationship with that company. I have like a let's say an agreement for the moment, and we're constantly like renegotiating that agreement. And I'm always thinking about like what's the next thing? What's the next biggest and best thing I want to do? Because a lot of the big things that I did before, they were really huge, but I was not in a position to take advantage of them, or I didn't. I don't know if it was fear on my end, or I don't know if it was like not the right time with the company. Like for example, like I worked with, I was like one of the first Pearson people to do a podcast with Mikhaila Peterson like 3.5 years ago
Oh,
before
no
she got,
way.
yeah, yeah. Or like just like a lot of people that I knew I came across and I worked with before they even got like popular, like Sterling Cooper and the Tate guys, and like just a whole bunch of people. I was like, now's not the right time, and I never did
Mm.
it. Certain things, and I'm like, if I had pulled the trigger on certain behaviors in those moments, those opportunities, I think I would be in a different trajectory. So now, what I'm really trying to do is like I would say in my career, my personal life and development is like not just it's to pull the trigger on the opportunities when they are there, when my gut instinct telling me they're right, even if it's an inconvenience to those around me. I'm always like a team player, a team guy. I'm like, what's the team want? What's the team want to do? It's like I got to pull the trigger on certain opportunities, even if it's like an inconvenience to those who around me. Because at the end of the day, who's going to take care of you? At the end of the day, like, you know, when you die, people will be sad for a month and they'll continue living their lives. Like, it affects you at the end of the day. So, you know, that's something I'm working on for all my projects moving forward in the future. So I'm doing a business coaching one for just for coaches that want to be coaches. It's not even business coaching. It's like people that are trying to learn how to develop the art of teaching, the art of coaching. Because, for example, what we did, it wasn't like we just made up some like theories in our bedroom. I call this the microphone podcast coach. This is what I call it. Microphone podcast coach has been invented in the last like 3 years since like the pandemic happened. And everybody's like, oh, so you're a coach, like you do a podcast. It's like, no. We actually like would go out, test something ourselves, try it 100 to 500 times, see if it worked, then write like a field report or a theory on the internet about it, have other people go out and try it. And then we go and we try to teach this to our students and replicate it in our students so that our students can do whatever we're talking about as good as we're talking about it. And then finally, once it's past that litmus test of doing it like 20, 30 times, we might make a video about it and teach it. So that's what we did, and that's what we do. So everything I do is like for even the teaching coaches how to coach, it includes that. And then I have some other things I'm thinking about doing. I'm really thinking about what I can do to bring like men and women together harmoniously. I don't think dating advice is up to date. I think it's like super out of date. I think a lot of the game advice is out of date. It needs to be updated tremendously.
Well, you've basically just brought like 100 points all at once. So
yes.
I found one thing very interesting. You said you've had the opportunity, or you did have the opportunity, to work with Mikhaila Peterson and with the Tate brothers. Walk me through that.
Yeah. So the Tate thing, that's just that camp basically, like about 3 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago, I just like ran into Sterling Cooper on the street and I hopped on his podcast. This is before like he was associated with them, or before like Fresh and Fit really blew up, when they had like 60,000 subscribers and stuff. And I was in that scene. I was like, it's kind of like adult content. I don't really want to be associated with that at the moment. Let me like not do that. Mikhaila Peterson stuff. This is at the beginning of the pandemic. I remember we hopped on a podcast, which was to hang out and do some more stuff. And then literally, because I was living in Toronto at the time, she was in Toronto, the Petersons are from Toronto. And we were all going to get together and hang out. And
no way.
COVID happened, and then Jordan got sick, right? This is before he got like super sick. But, all this to just say that I was in a lot of the right places at the right time. And I think if you're in the right place, just generally in life as a lesson, if you're in the right place at the right time, you can still mess up. I think it's not enough to have an amazing work ethic. I think I have a really strong work ethic. I think you have this amazing, astounding Austrian/German work ethic, one of the best I've ever seen. I think I'm a close like 2.5 compared to that. Like I'm like better than some people that we used to work with, but not as good as you in my work ethic. Like I don't mind working all day, every day on something I love. It doesn't bother me. But work is not the only thing that matters. I think it's also opportunity. And I tried to study opportunity as like a craft for the last year in my life, and really like what makes somebody lucky, or what makes somebody has the opportunity. How do you identify opportunities? And opportunities, I've learned, usually come when things are going bad in life. There's also an opportunity. Like when the stock market crash, somebody always also benefits from it. So I try to like understand what opportunities are. And then on top of having opportunities, there's an expression, the mind conceives in vain if the hand be not quick to execute a design, which means like if you have a great opportunity, but you don't follow through with it with work and consistency, then you never get lucky. And I think I'm a person that's very creative and artistic, and I get like excited about an idea and then I lose momentum on it 60 to 90 days in. Whereas like the real truth of brilliance is not the idea, but the person who can do the boring thing consistently over a long period of time. And then they see amazing growth. Like I've really been impressed with what you've done with your Instagram for your business account, because that was a simple thing to do at high quality, which is hard enough, but to do it consistently every single day for 120 days or whatever it is. And then you get the result. And that's really like, that is what luck is. And if you're doing that, then you have the luck. And I think that's something I'm always trying to work on and cultivate as a skill, because I envy that in other people. And I'm sure other people envy like my charm or charisma or ideas, but I envy that consistency in other people, and I envy their ability to like execute
Yeah.
consistently the boring thing on
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
on schedule. You know?
It's funny. It's funny that you mentioned the Instagram thing. Because remember, like when we started, when you and I started,
Mhm.
like I started, I think in 2013 ish, where I transitioned as a an assistant to a paid coach, or 14 or something like that. And like it actually meant something to have like 10,000 followers on Instagram, or
Mm.
20,000. I mean, I think I had like 26,000 followers on Instagram when I cracked my first million. Nowadays, my freaking cousin has 20,000 followers on Instagram, and all he does is he knocks out a couple of reels of him riding a motorcycle. Shout out to, I forgot his freaking profile name, but like back then it actually meant something. And also it was actually really freaking hard to get to 10, 20,000, let alone 100,000 followers on Instagram. And what we're doing now, it's just knock out a reel a day, which is like 15 to 30-second video, and be funny, be cool, experiment around, have a good time. And then you can also, when you're advanced, you can do paid shout outs, where you basically pay a bigger account to feature you. And that's really it. And then next thing you know, within a couple of months, you hit 100K followers. And plus, it's not just that we have all these random ass followers, but we're also making consistent money from it. And it in fact now rivals our VSL, like our actual ad, Facebook and YouTube ad campaign to VSL. The Instagram rivals that. And it's just a very simple system, is like knock out 1 to 2 videos a day, 15 to 30 seconds each. I shoot all of these in bulk. So the ones that we're shooting now, the ones that we're releasing now, we shot like 2 months ago. I can't remember it. I shoot this all in one day, just different shirts, different watches. I always have the same haircut if you really look closely. Same haircut, same beard. And that's it. And then, people DM us, and then, from there we try to help them as much as we can. And then a lot of them end up buying our high ticket program. And it's really easy. And back in the days though, man, we grinded this out. I mean, Instagram didn't even have freaking video function yet. There was no stories either. Instagram was
Yeah.
4x4 pictures. That's all you could do, man. Crazy, dude.
What do you think about the change between? I think you might have talked about to Jeff. Is this with? I think you might have talked to Jeff about this as well. What do you think about the change of like how the amount of followers that you have doesn't matter, and like you can't necessarily always reach your subscriber list with the followers? Now it's like if the content is good for the algorithm, you are now blessed by the algorithm god, and you are like a favorited channel, and now your stuff will always get seen. Versus like you could have the same content, have a bunch of subscribers. Like I know people that have 1 million subscribers and get like 10K views per video.
Yeah,
Stuff
yeah.
like that.
It's funny, all these systems, like the subscriber system, the hashtag system, the YouTube SEO system, none of this really matters anymore, because all that's been taken over by the algorithms. They're much more sophisticated than that, right? So back in the days, we would build an audience, and then because YouTube was just like Stone Age version of what it is now, right? It was very blunt. It was very simplified. It was like, here's your subscribers. Oh, you upload a new video. Let's show this video on the homepage to your subscribers, right? And then it started doing algorithms. So it's like, hey, but, also now let's have a little bit of a curated experience that, it shows your videos to some of your subscribers, but not all of them. And then based on that, aka the algorithm, is going to decide which other of your subscribers are going to see this video, and so on and so forth. And we're at a point right now where this whole idea of like subscribers, hashtags, SEO doesn't matter anymore, because YouTube is just like, it's going to be looked at by this machine algorithm, almost like the Matrix machines. And then the machine says, okay, send it out to 100 people. Got it. Now we know the impression. It's good. Send it out to 1,000 more. Still good impression. Send it out to 10,000. Still good impression. Great. Now send it out to 100,000. Oh, impression is now bad. Cut it. Done. Like, and it's just doing this in Explore page, and it's just the algorithm knows the psychological profile of people that could potentially like your video, completely disregarding the fact who subscribed to whom. All that is just like residuals that are still there. Oh yeah, the subscribers think it's still there, and that has an advantage and a disadvantage. And it's the same on Instagram too. On a side note, when you're posting a reel, sure, some of your followers are going to see it, but if it's great, it's going to be put into the explore page, and like a million people that have never heard of you before are all of a sudden going to see your content. And that has an
Right.
advantage and a disadvantage. It has an advantage because it means you can be absolutely nobody. You can be complete nobody with like your first reel that you've ever shot in the world. It's like the only piece of content that you have on your Instagram. And all of a sudden, you're seen by hundreds of thousands, if not even millions of people, if we do the right thing. So it has now lowered the barrier of entry even more. It was already pretty low when we started. You could just make content, and if you're consistent enough for a year or months, people could find you. Now the barrier of entry is like you make one piece of content, and it's the right thing at the right time, like you said, in terms of opportunity. People can see it. The disadvantage now, you don't even need to call it a disadvantage, is if you're resting on your laurels and you're getting entitled as an existing person with an existing audience, an existing brand, and you're like, well, I have 100,000 subscribers, I'm just going to make content for my subscribers, whatever. You can still tank. Just like you said, there's people with 1 million followers, 1 million subscribers that get 10,000 views because the algorithm is like, I don't give a damn how many followers or subscribers you have. If your content is good, I'm going to show it to subscribers and more. And if it's not good, I'm not even going to show it to your own subscribers anymore. So it basically wants you, the algorithm basically pushes any sort of content creator into a corner saying, you either make original and good high quality content or you're out, motherfucker. We don't need you. We don't care how many subscribers you've had 10 years ago and that you've built it over whatever time. You make good content, the algorithm shall bless you. You shall be blessed by the all-knowing, the all-knowing algorithm. We are under your thumb, oh algorithm. Or you don't do that and you're basically fucked. You're irrelevant and the algorithm shall ignore you forever and everybody else. So it's like we really are at the mercy of this entity. And it's crazy. It's like almost the algorithms are literally predicting what we're going to do. They're dictating our feelings, our emotions, our actions, what we love, what we hate, what we should see, what we not see. That's an all-powerful entity. And I'm not saying this is good. I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying this is what it is. And you either play along and you win, or you ignore it and you are ignored.
Yeah.
Either way is fine.
To add to that, it's like I've noticed it's kind of have like you're either a favorited channel or you're not a favorited channel. Like I've noticed people have content and the content is really good and nothing happens, and then they blow up one day over a stupid video. And it's like not even that video that they create is that amazing. It's just like the algorithm is like, okay, it's your turn now. And what it does is I noticed it floods you with a whole bunch of like followers right away. So for example, me last month, I got like 8,000 followers, I think organically, right? And it's just like, oh, okay, here's a little stupid. It was crazy. It was a little video I shot on the street. The audio was bad. The video quality was bad. There was like a light behind me. The captions changed in different fonts in the middle of it. I threw it up and it had like 400K views. And then like all of a sudden the algorithm started to feed me the right people, right? But then I noticed the algorithm will do something too. They'll give you a little bit of luck. Then they'll take it away and they'll see what you do for the next 2 to 3 months. And they want to see, I think, like if you're consistent for the next 2 to 3 months, and then they'll give you another like wave or tsunami of traffic to like try again. That's what I've noticed is happening. I've been studying how people have been blowing up, and it seems to kind of go like that flat, nothing, big medium wave, nothing again for 2 to 3 months, huge wave, and then they're like bigger than ever before. It seems like the trend, you know, like it's like as long as you're the trusted YouTuber, the trusted TikToker, the trusted Instagrammer, then you've had it. I actually heard Owen actually heard that a year ago from like Graham Stephan, who he's hanging out with a lot, but I didn't understand what that meant until like literally four months ago. I was like, oh, that's how this works now. That's how this is going. So that's finally like clicked in, and I'm trying to do better with that. So it's been a shift for me. I'll tell you psychologically, like that was like a technical thing, but psychologically, it's been a shift for me as a guy who's now in his 40s to be like, oh, I'm a content creator now. Like that's been weird. Psychological shift from like coach to I make content. Like people ask, like, people say, oh, so you're traveling. What do you do? They say, oh, I'm a coach. I do webinar, I do seminars, and I sell digital programs. best way to explain it. Now I go, like, people say, what do you do? I go, I'm a content creator. And I say it and I don't really believe it. As I'm saying, it's so weird to hear it like come out of my own mouth. I'm a content creator because I'm still in my mind trying to figure out like what that exactly means. It means like, basically means like, I play the algorithm. That's what it means.
Yeah.
And it means like coaching has to be like a priority, but for the sake of the algorithm, it's like a secondary priority. Because like you said,
it's
like
crazy.
it's not a searching thing anymore. Like how to do this, how to do that, why to do that, when to do this. It's like people aren't searching for that anymore. It's like this sucks. Here's why. The end of Marvel. Why Marvel sucks. Like, or DC is finished. Star Wars is garbage. And it's like that's what they're clicking on. They're not clicking on like how to necessarily.
Exactly. It's funny because it gets it like you have to be more and more provocative to kind of jump out of all the noise, to stand out from the noise. You have to be more and more provocative, and that's been a shift, right? You also have to realize is like that the emergence of provocative hooks is also just the end result of whatever had been going on before with like clickbaity thumbnails. If you remember the red circle and red arrow in the thumbnails, like that was like 2014, 15, like the thing.
You were doing it back then. We didn't understand. I was like, what's this circle thing? It's like
100%,
he's ruining the picture. The picture looks garbage. He's putting a big circle on it. He's ruining a nice photo. What is he doing? Yeah.
And then out of that was this whole like Andrew Tate style is just say something really outrageous. Like some of my most popular videos are like coffee is for broke people, walking is for broke people. Next thing you know, I'm gonna have like breathing is for broke people. Just like be like the most obnoxious, just attack something that everybody does. And what I'd be curious is like, what's the next thing? Like, because people are gonna get desensitized to that,
right?
To the extreme weird snippets, and then I'm wondering like, what's next? What's after this? Like, what is the thing that people are not going to be desensitized to that? So I'll be super curious. But
I have an idea about that. I've been watching it. This is kind of like not to go too deep into it, but I've been seeing a lot of channels that do like 15 to 20-minute documentary style videos blowing up. They'll have like only 5 or 6 videos, and they'll be like 100 views, 500 views, 5K, 10K, a million. And it's like, like, the evolution of Kanye West, like a little like bio clip video for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, those will blow up. Or like why McDonald's is so popular, something like that, about subjects. And those like little documentary style, like lots of B-roll, lots of like investigative footage, reading articles, those are doing good. Yeah, those are really blowing up.
That's a very good point that you're bringing this up. This is kind of like also the style that we've been doing on our new YouTube channel, like the one that I've launched earlier this year, where we're basically doing this like travel with me documentary style kind of thing. I like those. I have since started mixing in these talking head videos again that you and I used to shoot all the time, because I also feel like they're re-emerging. You just have to be ultra tight with them. I mean, you and I back in the days in 2015, 15, 16, 14, 15, 16, it was literally just like, here's a 2-hour video of me talking to the camera, right? And people would suck it up. They would love it. Nowadays, you have to be really smart about it. You're like, okay, it's the same type of content, but I got to be ultra tight in the first 30 to 60 seconds. I got to have B-roll. I got to have sound effects just to really tend to this like dopamine spiking. And funny enough, since we're talking about this already, like there was a small period of time where I wasn't doing that. That was just when I started with Freedom Business Mentoring and the business content. It was like 2019-ish, 2018, 19, 20, 21, where you could still, quote unquote, get away with non-dopamine spiky content because the dopamine spiky thing was only for people that were like 16, 17, 18. They just couldn't handle it. And everybody above that, they were still totally fine. They weren't ruined yet by freaking short form gratification content. And now, even if you're targeting people that are 35, 36 plus, people like you and I, we're so damaged now also, just from all these like memes and the quick 10-second pace changes of the reels and the stories, that even for those people, you have to have the dopamine spiky, quick cut emojis, freaking sound effects type of content. It's getting really freaking bad. But then at the same time, don't hate the player, hate the game. I even push it further and say, win the game. Like, you can hate the game and win it at the same time. You can hate it and play it and win it all at the same time.
Yeah. that feels like dating, which we'll talk about probably soon in a bit as
Yeah.
well. Winning the game and hating at the same time. I want to ask you about what do you think about like this really long form content though? Like I won't say a podcast, the people that do like 2 hour videos or 3 hour live streams. I've been seeing those blow up as well. Now they're not like very dopamine spiking, they're not like a lot of action, but I think what happens is that video just gets so much watch time that
Yeah.
the algorithm maybe eventually just says, "Oh, there's watch time. Let's promote him."
Yeah.
I've been seeing people do like 3 to 4 hour live streams. It's just like nothing. They're like reading super chats and they're like reading like news articles and like taking a question every now, arguing with people in the comments. But yet these channels seem to be doing okay because of the watch time. What do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, like you said it yourself, like YouTube wants you to stay on the platform. So, meaning if you have the quote unquote cojones, the balls to actually go out and say, fuck it, I'm going to make a 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour live stream or just a super long kind of episode of something, YouTube still says, hey, this might not get you as many clicks as a quick clickbaity 30-second YouTube short, but at the same time, we love you for the fact that if you're engaging enough, you keep people on our platform for hours, watch
Mhm.
time, hell yeah, let's freaking go. But at the same time, these are usually not content pieces that blow up and be sent to new people. These are
Right.
usually content pieces that tend to your existing audience, kind of what you and I used to do back in the days. So and this has less to do with, oh, does the algorithm show it to your existing subscribers or not? It is more to do just psychologically on the human side, like who even is interested in watching a 2 to 4 hour video of someone they don't know, right?
That
It's
makes
almost
sense.
like,
Yeah.
it's almost like dating advice kind of thing is like the chance that you're talking to a girl that you just talked to in like a coffee shop and you're having a 4 hour conversation is really low because she doesn't know you yet. But if you have been on multiple dates with a girl and you say, hey, come have coffee with me, and you guys end up talking, chatting for 3, 4 hours, that's much more likely. And that's exactly the same with, longer live streams. Now, if I have an existing audience and I say, hey, folks, you know me, I'm the fitness coach, you know all my stuff about hormones and science and all that. Over the next 3 hours, we're going to go super deep down the rabbit hole. I'm going to be sharing with you everything you need to know about nutrition. Now, your existing audience will be like, hell yeah, this is all the content I've ever wished for. Let's freaking go. I'm in it for it right here, buddy. But someone new might get hooked in by a good title, a snappy thumbnail, maybe they don't
Mhm.
see your ugly face, but you have a pretty girl sitting next to you. Like, okay, that's cool. I'll click on that. And then they're like, oh, it's 3 hours, and then maybe they watch 5 minutes and they're like, that's great. And then they fuck off. But at the same time, YouTube is like, that's still great. So it does work. And I always put it this way, and this is also something that I teach my clients. If you're new to the game, meaning new to YouTube, new to Instagram, or new to both, whatever it is, go build something and build it in a way so you attract new people. I would only make content just for new people, just to be young, fresh, cool, interesting, anything that attracts new eyeballs onto you. And then as you're progressing and as your core audience grows, you can more and more give them the actual content that you want to do and the actual content that they actually need. And this is something that goes way back to the dating advice times. I mean, you and I have talked about this ad nauseum way back in the days as well. I would always have two types of content, roughly speaking. One is the clickbaity, new and fancy content that I would do back in the days from my dating brand. Things like what to do if she has a boyfriend, or, like
Mhm.
how to talk to a girl if you're shy, like all these like very surface level newbie topics, because that's what the average new guy who doesn't know my face, who doesn't know me, is going to be more likely to click on. So I would call this the clickbaity titles, right? The stuff that reels people in. And then I would have the second type of content, and that's the real content, the content where I have my heart and soul behind it. I mean, not that I wouldn't give a shit about the clickbaity content either. I would still like that. I would still put all my energy in it. But at the same time, I'm like, look, I'm going to drop a 4 hour speech of mine recorded at some freaking free seminar that I did in London. Here you go. We're going super deep. It's not just about what to say when she has a boyfriend. It's like how to change your life, how to become the best version of yourself, like crazy freaking content. I mean, you've had tons of videos like that as well. And that would never go viral. It doesn't matter because it wasn't made to attract anyone new. It's made to take all the people whose eyeballs I have freshly just gathered and say, all right, folks, you came here for the cool free shit. Now let me drop the real stuff.
Yeah.
Let's go. And then these people, they're like, I just clicked on a video on how to get a girlfriend. And now, fucking next thing I know, I'm 4 hours deep with this random guy I just clicked on. Holy shit. And after these 4 hours, they turn from someone that was interested in you into a
Yeah.
fan, a
Yeah.
diehard fan. And that's how you could really induce some real cool change. And you could actually build a relationship, even though you never meet most of these people in real life, but you're building a relationship where they say things like, and you've had this many times as well, where people just see you on the street or they meet you at the airport and they're like, oh my God, you're my bro. I feel like you're my big bro. I feel like I've been knowing you forever. And it's just someone that's just been, very one-sidedly watching your content and you don't even know who they are. But for them, it's like they know you. And that's really, really powerful. But you gotta first have this like tending to the algorithm. You first have to be a little bit of a at the mercy of the algorithm first to even get these new eyeballs, and then you can go deeper and crazier as you get more people onto your account.
Yeah. How are you doing that on Instagram right now? Because I know it's easier to go deeper with a longer video on YouTube. Instagram does do longer content. I think you can do like a 10-minute video on Instagram. I
Yeah,
haven't really experimented with that. I think that could be interesting. It could be a cool idea. Like have little shorter reels, but then also have like a longer 10-minute video or have a live an Instagram live that's
yeah,
longer to get people in. I think that could be an interesting way to like convert people from like just people who don't know you or people who know you casually to people who know you a little deeper. What do you
100%. 100%. Well, there's multiple things that we do on Instagram. So first of all, the reels are almost, I would say like 80% of the reels are just there to go viral, to attract new people to go on the explore page. There's around roughly 20 to 30% of the reels where we say, okay, we knock these out for people that are already following us. That's just real content. Kind of like things from like the podcast. From this
Mhm.
podcast now, we'll probably cut a couple reels out. Some of them are going to be like Madison talking about how he almost worked with the Tate brothers, right? Like that's going to be
Right.
like, oh, clickbaity stuff, right? But then there's
Mhm.
also going to be certain reels that are going to be cut out of this where we're going deep on certain aspects. Like, earlier we talked about social dynamics already a little bit. You've talked about like this opportunity thing, like how important opportunity is and how important it is to be there for yourself and all that jazz. So kind of 70-30 on that. 70% new and clickbaity and fresh stuff. 30% is just there to teach your existing audience. Now, that's on the real side of things. And the other thing that we're doing a lot is actually DMs. Like that is where we're building a
Yeah.
lot of the relationships because this whole funnel and VSL free training video stuff that blew up in like 2014, 15, 16, 17. I mean, you and I have both profited from that ad nauseum. Like I made my first million with like funnel, VSL, click here, buy. People they're kind of tired of that. Not that it doesn't work. It still absolutely freaking works. I mean, we're making over 2-3 millions just with a VSL per year. And that's just like add VSL, book a call, right? But at the same time, you see this reemergence of DMing where people say, like, listen, man, I don't have time to watch some free video. I know this free video stuff is just going to sell me something. I want to DM you. And also there, you got to be really good in the DMs. You can't just be like, hey, what's up? Hey, yeah, here, click the link. You actually have a real freaking conversation with people, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, man, where are you from? Oh, sick. You're from Canada. No way. It's Montreal, one of my favorite cities. And like, you can't have these prefabricated copy paste bullshit. People know that. They're not dumb.
They can sense it.
So, yeah, we do
Yeah.
a lot of in the DMs. And guess what? The cool thing is, too, in the DMs, we often send them videos too. Like a lot of times people come to us very anew, they're like, oh yeah, I just saw you from some viral video or some shout out. They know nothing about what I do. So we actually have a conversation and then we're like, hey, listen, man, I have a quick video. It's like 3, 4, 5 minutes that shows you, what I do, how I teach my clients, how those folks are making money. If you want to, I could send you that video. And then people say, hell yeah, I'll send it over. And then we send them the video and that then further warms them up. So that's what we do a lot as well. Then of course
Mhm.
you have things like you said, like live streams where you go a little bit deeper. I still love live streams. It's still massively underrated because um Instagram pushes notifications when you go live to most people. Like by default, the notification of hey, so and so is going live is turned on for most people. So when you do go live, every time, and you'll see this too, every time I do go live, there's people who are like, holy shit, Max, like I forgot that I followed you or something, like I
Right.
haven't seen anything of you in like 2 years because this is the first notification that got pushed to them. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is stories also. Here's the thing, and I've talked about this in an older concept like a couple of years ago. whenever something is not curated by the feed, where people need to make a conscious decision to click, their buy-in is always higher. That's why oftentimes when people come to us and they say, hey, I've watched the podcast, they almost always become our client right away. Because for the podcast, it's a conscious decision. Nobody's going to watch this podcast because it appears on some fucking algorithm, on some feed, right? No, it's like the way you consume a podcast is like, hey, I want to watch the Max Tornow podcast. Let me go on Spotify, type in Max Tornow, right? So it's a very, very conscious decision that people are making to hop on a podcast. And it's kind of similar on a micro scale with the stories, because it's not like you open Instagram and it plays stories. That's not how it works. There's no feed for the stories. What you do is you see all the stories up above here, and then, you see the thumbnail and you're like, oh, cool, my friend Stefan made a story. Let me click on it. So by the time I click on it, I just made a conscious decision.
Right.
So meaning everybody that watches your stories is already much more bought in than someone that just watches a reel that pops up on the algorithm because they made a conscious decision to do that. So what I do a lot in the stories is, I'm sure I promote a lot. I do a lot of call to actions. I do daily call to actions on the Max Tornow Instagram, simply because we're getting like sometimes 1,000 new followers per day. So I know there's only a very small window of like, okay, I got their attention right now. They're not fans yet. They literally just followed me today. If I don't have a call to action on Instagram right now where I still have their attention, they might never convert, right? So I do call to actions all the time. Hey, free ebook, DM me. And it's always valuable. It's not like I'm asking for something, I'm actually giving. But at the same time, what I'm doing in the stories, I'm kind of showing the behind the scenes. On the stories, I'm like, hey, I'm in freaking Cyprus now. I'm in a beautiful villa, right? It's like, look at the cool lifestyle. But also, hey, look at me working. Look at me talking to my clients. Look at me having steak. I'm kind of showing like my personality a lot more. Because people who watch my stories, they, for example, know, hey, Max Tornow, he has this crazy steak addiction where he eats steak every day in the morning. Or things like, oh, Max Tornow loves StarCraft, or he's a nerdy guy who likes metal. Like, that's only something that people in my stories know, because that's where I'm kind of like much more myself.
Right. It's not on your wall necessarily. Not really where you're posting on your feed. It's like your stories more. That's where you post it. And yeah, it's really interesting the way you say that, like the CTAs and the bots, not the bot, but the DM messages. Like I had heard that a lot of the most share, I heard, it's the guy, I can't remember the guy's name, the chief marketing officer for YouTube now. He's on his podcast. He's always saying like, people think of Instagram as like a share program, no, a feed program, but really it's like a program people share in the application messages, the DMs. Like he says the majority of shares of a video go in the DMs, and that's where it happens. So like the fact you're saying like, yeah, you'll have a video in your DM that'll be good, you'll like it, and you'll also forward it to your buddy, like, yo, check it out in his DM if you think it's like appealing to them. So like all the shares really happen like in the DM. It's like the shares aren't really happening like anywhere else. That makes a lot of sense. Like have those conversations, and like, yeah, like you said, you get 1,000 followers a day. I get like 100 or 200 new followers on Instagram daily. And I've been trying to make the habit of like sending them an individual DM, like, hey, thanks for following me. Just want to sit here to answer any questions you have. Let me know what you're looking for. And I've been trying to do that. I totally fall off on it. That's like the consistency part, right? I got to do that daily. It's the most tedious thing to sit there for 30 minutes and like copy paste or like press send, say hi, respond. Yeah. So tedious to do it. But I heard it's really amazing. Like, for example, that guy that does fitness, knees over toes guy.
Yeah,
I think that guy's 1 million followers. He's DM'd me like twice. He's like liked my stuff twice. And I saw him on the Joe Rogan podcast saying he'll sit there for like 3 to 4 hours a day, like commenting on people's stuff and liking their stuff. And like the platform sees he has real engagement. And then they boost him even more because he has those real authentic DMs. He has like, also I heard that people that have live DM conversations with you, they will see your story more. So if you have like a conversation with somebody like yesterday or day before, when you post a story, your story is promoted about other stories to them. So I think that's the benefit of it as well. So when you do that call to action in your story, it's like, oh yeah, I was just talking to him yesterday. Sure, why not? Why not?
Exactly.
Going on. So
you literally see that like you have a DM conversation with someone, and it's just like 1 or 2 replies back and forth. You'll instantly see like their stories are going to be like at the very top left on your feed.
Yeah,
it just instantly pushes that, but it has to be a real conversation. It's not just like one of you sending someone else a DM. Like the moment you have a back and forth, like a ping pong, boom, it's like the highest priority for the algorithm. And yeah, man. But by the way, dude,
Yeah.
You said you're in your 40s? Damn,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Well, I mean, look, where you were saying, like, yeah, back in 2015 when we used to travel, think about how long ago that was. Like, there's a 3 year gap that nobody remembers. When
Yeah,
you
yeah.
said 2015, like, I lent you a jacket suit. That was like 7 years ago, right? So, I
Fuck.
mean, come on.
It was longer. I think it must have been. It's almost 10 years ago. I think I can't remember if it was
Thanks,
2000. It
Jerry.
might even have been earlier, man. But you're right,
Nah,
man. I mean, dude, you're
yeah.
almost aging backwards, man. You're almost looking younger than
Yeah,
before,
I know.
dude.
I don't know. Black don't crack. I don't know what it is, man. It's definitely not the stress. It's definitely not the stress. The stress is there. So I don't know how I'm aging backwards. I don't,
Yeah, you look great, man. You look freaking great. I gotta say, although your camera died, I don't know what what happened there. That's it. Now he did age. He aged everything at once. He aged within a second. He's literally gone. There you go. Yeah, and I can't hear you. You're not muted, but I can't. Okay, he's recording on the phone. All right, that's good. You know, it's funny. Just from it's for the people who are watching this, Madison looks like a DJ right now, trying to what is D? Oh,
nice.
there we go. Now I can hear you. You're looking like you're pressing a bunch of DJ buttons and stuff.
Yeah, I'm a fake DJ. You ever
Yeah,
notice how
yeah.
every girl's a DJ now? It's like a complete lie, but every girl's like, I'm a DJ. It's like, how are you a DJ? Oh, you have a rich man supporting your dreams while you pursue DJing and make no money, but you're a DJ now. I get it. It's like when a woman says to me she's a DJ, it's like when she says she's a mermaid. Like, think about how crazy this is. Like, I actually go on Instagram profile sometimes, or I'll go on like Tinder or Bumble, and they'll be like, a woman like to say, I'm a mermaid. And I'm like, okay. And then I logically like process this. I'm like, but you don't have scales or fins or flippers, right? She's like, but I'm a mermaid. But she can live in like that state of delusion, and like men support it, people support it, and we're like, yes, you're 30 years old and you are a mermaid. You are an aquatic animal. Sure. It's like I'm a witch. I'm a white witch. Some witches are black witches, but I'm like a white magic witch. I'm like, all right, man, this is where we live today. The world we live in today. The
That's
world we
100% going to be a real. This one is a perfect example of taken out of context, provocative statement.
yes.
Go follow Madison. That's basically how it's going to be.
If I tell people how I really feel about things, they'll be shocked. If I
Yeah.
how I really feel, the internet might not exist anymore. Hold on a second.
It just gonna implode.
I just will end the end. If I say what I really think. All right.
Mm.
HD 4K or 60. I'll do HD 30.
What do you say, Primo Shark Tech guy? He's gonna record now also on the phone.
Yeah.
1080p, 24 frames per second.
Yeah. Yeah. So
As
it's
long as
recording
the image looks
here.
good, we're fine. All
Yeah.
right,
So
cool, cool.
you can ignore the image here on the web camera. This is just me looking at you, but I have a better quality image here.
Sounds
Okay.
good, man. Sounds good. Now, let's dive super deep into the drama, Madison. So you mentioned earlier that the company that we've both partnered up back in the dating time. So you're in and out somehow. What's going on there?
Yeah. It's like, how do I say this? With it's really about power, right? It's like it's a brotherhood, but it's also about business. It's business first, brotherhood second. And I think the company kind of works where it's like it has this impression amongst the employees and most people that it's like brotherhood first, business second, but it's not the case.
Mm.
And it's really all about business first. So when it's business first, it's this kind of weird dynamic where like the truth is some of these guys, I haven't seen them in 3 years. Like I haven't seen Julian face to face in 3.5 to 4 years, like
Wow.
physically in person in 4 years. I've seen Owen like once in the last 2 years, right? Like physically
Damn.
in Canada. And I know you experienced that a little bit as well when you were like in Europe, right? Like you're literally in another country doing something else by yourself. Also, when the pandemic happened, it was like total, like, didn't see these guys for 3 years a lot of the time, right? So that I think creates a cognitive distance where it's out of sight, out of mind. Even if you talk to somebody on Zoom, you have a FaceTime, there's nothing that replicates being face to face. And I think
Yeah.
out of sight, out of mind, and it's like a very brotherhood community. It takes a toll on the situations. Things get less prioritized, things get forgotten, things like that. So it's nobody's fault. It's not like anybody's fault. It's just the situation of the dynamic. It's like having a girlfriend that you go on the vacation to Croatia or something, or to like Lisbon, Portugal. You meet some girls there and you forget to like text your girlfriend. You're like,
Mm.
I should text my girlfriend. She likes it when I call her like around dinner time, but you forget like 6 o'clock and kind
Mm.
of forget a few days. And you know you're supposed to text your girlfriend and you don't do it. And you're like, I should do it. And it's
Mm.
like your girlfriend's mad, and you're like, yeah, I know, like you have a right to be mad. It's like that kind of a thing, kind of just perpetuates and kind of goes on. So it makes the logistics of the relationship very challenging, and I think that's definitely an issue. As now that we work more remotely, as the world works more remotely now than ever, and as we are like doing less and less seminars than before, it's a challenge. Like before, me and you, we would do like 30 seminars a year, something like that, like
even more. Yeah, even more. Yeah.
Sometimes I remember my top year, I did 35 seminars like in a year, right? Now I do 5. So I'm not really like on the road. I'm on the road doing private coaching, but I'm not on the road doing like seminars as much. So there's not really a reason for me to like fly down to New York and collaborate, shoot a video with somebody. No reason for me to like go to Miami and collaborate. You know what I mean? So that definitely plays like a role in the dynamic. And I think it's a challenge for me to operate in that situation. So I'm just trying to do the best that I can with it, you know, constantly just like see where we are, see what we can do, see how to adjust things. And again, also it's also because, you know, now it's like, again, it's like more live streams, more Zooms. It's like that has become the way to coach as well. So all this creates like a physical distance with people. And it's
I hear you. I hear you, but how come you guys don't do as many seminars anymore? I see Julian still touring. He still does seminars.
No, he does. No, he doesn't. I think Julian does like 4 to like maybe 8 a year, but he just goes on stage, and then what he does is I don't know, same thing you told me, like when you do your reels, he goes in the back, he changes clothes, and he comes back on.
Okay.
So he changes clothes like 3 or 4 times a day over like a weekend, and then it looks like he has like different seminar clips for like 3 to 4 months, which is like one seminar. So I think he does like 4 or 5 like actual like free tours in America a year. Not very many, and like 4 or 5 in Europe, like not very many. Me, it's even.
But how come? I mean, how come? Because for us, I remember like when I was still on board, that was basically like one of our main sources of income, and also main source of content. So how come you guys don't do that anymore?
Yeah, it's still a big source of content, but we don't. How do I say it? Like it's still a big source of income. Like we'll do, you know, like if there's a 3-day free tour in New York, I mean, we'll do close to like 100K in sales or something like that, right? Like we'll still do that. But I think it's the culture of going out. People have changed. Like people don't go out to clubs anymore. I don't know if it's the same in Europe, but like people don't go out. They don't like want to work on social skills. Like I have a buddy of mine who teaches dating as well. And he says, people these days don't actually want to be good at dating. They just want to come to my city where I have all the clubs, the bottles, the setup with the boat. They want to come, experience what that's like for a week, pretend that that is their life, convince themselves that it is, then go back home and say that they've tried it. But the act of like going out to learn social skills has dramatically changed. Like I'll tell you something, bro. I had a kid on program the other day. He was 21 years old, right? And we're on boot camp, and we're talking about, you know, that situation when you go to the club and you buy a girl a drink, and she kind of like takes a drink and she runs off. And he's like, "What do you mean?" And we're like, "You know, you buy a drink." Then we say to him, "You know, like situation, like you're in a club, a reggae song comes on, and maybe like you're talking to a girl, you try to slide up behind her, and you kind of try to dance and grind, but you don't have any rhythm, and it's kind of weird." He's like, "What do you mean?" And like, "Bro, haven't you ever like danced with a girl in a club or bought her a drink?" He goes, "No, I graduated on Zoom."
Oh,
and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh," like it hit me, like it hit me. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I didn't actually understand it until the kid said it, and I was like, people actually don't interact in social places anymore. Like I'd say like 30 to 50% less than they used to. So they're like, I'm just gonna like do the video games. I'm just gonna do the going out of my own way, just do the no fat, and that's my life now. And I'm not gonna get married, and like I don't want to associate. But the challenge of that is that social skills are more valuable now than ever, because if you have them, you can sell above the rest of the competition. If you have social skills, you can public speak, you can do sales, you can do remote work with social skills, you can manage a team. Anybody who was a president of a company or a country has some decent social skills, at least usually, to like use the power to encourage people to follow them. You can start an online presence with social skills. So it's actually more important and more revered now than ever, but people don't see the need to like go out and like learn it as much. So it's very strange. It's like the need is there, but like the market is like, why should I do it? Because I've given up on myself.
Yeah.
So balance.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. And like you mentioned earlier something like this whole brotherhood thing. Uh, that's also kind of like something that I mean, to be fully honest and transparent with you, like one of the reason why I've reignited this podcast and invite people like you and Jeffy is because I want to get back in touch with all of you guys. I mean, we've always been kind of in touch ever since I kind of started doing my own thing. I left and built my own thing anyways. You and I, and then Jeffy and I, and Julie and I, and everyone, we've always still been in touch. But at the same time, I'm like, one of the biggest strengths that we've had when we all were dating coaches and collaborating with the same company is like we were always feeding off each other, right? Like you would have a great video coming out and then you would feature one of us and then those people would meet us and then I would have a great video out and then I would have you on my YouTube and then those people would get to know you and so on and so forth. And I'm like, why can't we just keep doing this anyways? Like, even though, I'm doing my own thing, you're still involved, you're kind of involved. Julian does something else, but he's also kind of involved in all that jazz. So I thought, like, I want to give you guys still a huge platform. I still want to send people towards you because both you and Julian, but also, Jeffy, Tyler, and everyone, you guys are still absolutely fucking crushing it. Like, and like you said, like, people might not be super interested in social dynamics anymore because they're lazy and they're entitled. But nonetheless, the content itself is amazing. And I have to say, too, at this point, like one of the biggest catalysts for my own growth way back in 2009, 10, 11 was watching Tyler's videos, like RSD Tyler. I watched his videos religiously. Like if you actually would read through my diary, it would literally, like in 2009 and 10, it would literally say things like, whatever, November 20th, 2010. I believe more and more in the words of Tyler. Watching all his videos to make more and more sense. I was so hooked on that. And then, of course, I became part of the content creation myself. I wouldn't just watch Tyler's videos or Julian's videos. I would actually be in them. Like I would actually be, holy shit. Like, and I still remember like shooting my first video with Julian or my first video with Tyler. I'm like, I cannot believe I'm shooting a video with the guy that I used to watch. It's like, imagine like you're a guitarist and you're recording a record with AC/DC, right? Like you've been listening to AC/DC since you were a child, and all of a sudden you're on the freaking record. Mind blown. And what I've just recently started doing, I'm like, man, I haven't checked Tyler's content out in so long. So I started watching his YouTube again. And I'm like, to be fully honest, like he's getting way less views than what he used to. Of course, because the YouTube landscape changed quite a lot. People are getting lazy and so on and so forth. But fuck, the content is so good. And I have a suspicion that because his content is so high level, it's so far up there right now that the most people can't even fucking resonate anymore. And back in the days when Tyler used to do, smaller things like, like how to never run out of things to say, just like dating advice stuff, it would just reach much, much more people because it was still more relatable. And now Tyler is so far out because he's been through so much and his content is so fucking high level. There's just a tiny fraction of people that can still resonate to that. And me watching these videos, I'm like, holy shit. I've never seen anybody like this. I've never seen anybody create content like this. This is exactly the kind of stuff that I feed off of right now as an entrepreneur, as someone who's traveled the world, as someone who's been through so much shit and
Who's been ayahuasca.
Exactly. Like I've experienced so many things and I've grown so much. So this is exactly this level of stuff that I'm really, really into right now. So I've watched all his latest like 4 or 5 long form videos. They're all like an hour long, and I'm like, this is so fucking good. And I want to give props to him here. And you know what? To be honest, fully, Madison, like I miss the good old times where we all hung out and we just fucking ate at the steakhouse. We were at the steakhouse. I was still a vegetarian back then, but I would eat all the sides, and like I'd have Julian next to me. I would have you next to me on the other side. That would be Jeffy, Tyler, Nick. Who else was there?
Mikhail.
Ozzy, Mikhail, the legend. I mean, Mikhail has been on this podcast now twice. Mikhail Kuznetsov, you folks can look him up. Like, even though even though I'm making way more money than I did back then, even though I've experienced way more and kind of like life is much more, it's easier. It's like I'm better at everything. I have way higher testosterone. I'm fitter. I'm looking better and all that. There's still part of me that is like, man, these were really fucking good times.
Mhm.
Really fucking good. Than just us shooting the shit at the steakhouse, being threatened to be kicked out because we're laughing so hard. I mean, remember how like so many times we would be like at like SL Steakhouse or whatever in Vegas, like the baller steakhouse in the at the Win and that would be like elderly couples, for whom it was like a special occasion, and they're sitting there with their wine, and next to them our table, and we're just like, fuck this, fuck that,
Yeah.
shit, pussy, whatever, all these bad words, just throw it and just laugh. And, of course, like Tyler with his like, his crazy, obnoxious laugh. Like, those are really, really great freaking times. And
Mhm.
even though every one of us right now is crushing it so much, so hard on an individual level, I still think those times had so much beauty to them and so much brotherhood and so much love.
Yeah.
We weren't even aware of the golden times we got to live back then. And
Yeah.
just to wrap this up, it's like, to wrap this thought up, not the podcast. We're in the podcast. We're deep in the podcast. We're going long. But just to wrap this thought up, like, that is one of the reasons why I'm like, I want to get everybody on this podcast, man. And that's also why I told you, Madison, I was like, what's your travel schedule like, man? Let's get together in fucking Europe, because I'm no one that says, oh, the good old times, wah, cry, cry, cry. I fucking love the times I live in right now because, like I said, everything is better. But at the same time, I also know, let's bring back the crew together, man. Let's share bread. Let's have some fucking fun, because I'm also not someone who says, oh, you can't bring back the fucking good old times. You can't recapture the lightning in a bottle. You can't, but you can reignite something else, something newer, something awesome. I believe we can still all sit together on a fucking table and shoot the shit. We're all still fucking friends. And that's the beautiful thing. It's just like we have a little bit less, quote unquote, obligation to hang out with each other because everyone kind of does their own thing. And, like you said, like you haven't seen anyone in real life in a while and so on and so forth. But at the same time, like I still believe we can absolutely all crush it and, have some steak together this time for real. This time, Max Tornow eating steak as well. So I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but like if in a couple of years from now we're all hanging out in Hawaii or Honolulu, Kauai, or LA or Vegas or whatever, and we're all just having a hell of a good fucking time, that would make me really, really fucking happy, man.
Oh, wow. Okay. I will. Well, you said it on camera, and I will pass the message along. I know people always said, like, oh, I have no problem doing it. Like when people say I have no problem doing that with Max, it's different than like actively making an effort to do it with Max. And I'm happy that you and Jeff were able to get together in person. That was really special.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been there in person in Europe, but my buddies were in Poland this last weekend or last few months. I didn't have the chance to go because I had some things I was working on and some family issues that I was as challenges, but I wasn't able to go. But I definitely would like to see everybody get together. Like that time everybody goes to play paintball, and it's like you like with your literal army skills, like playing
I
paintball, not
remember.
canisters, and everybody's like, "What? Oh, Max, you were in the military, like you trained, and like here are these Americans, no military experience, trying to like the fake AK-47 for the first time, like like stuff like that." Really a lot of fun, like go karting, driving cars, all that stuff. And I
Yeah.
think what you said is really important. Like it wasn't just fun times, but we didn't realize how good it was because that was the lifestyle before anybody even knew what the lifestyle was. Now we have people that are like Instagram influencers who like promote like the freedom laptop lifestyle, but we were doing that before that was a thing. When I would go through
Way
custom,
before.
I was like, I work on my laptop. They'd be like, what do you mean? I'm like, I make money on my laptop. They're like, I don't understand. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take pictures of the Eiffel Tower. Let me just, okay, now we'll let you through custom because we understand what that is. You know what I mean? Like I have to like make up some story that their brains could understand. But now
So
everybody works
true.
remotely and it makes more sense. Um,
Yeah.
what was cool about it too is like I think I think there's this expression I heard from my buddy the other day. He says that what's more valuable, a very attractive woman or a very cool guy? And it's easier to meet a very attractive woman and harder to meet like a very cool guy that you can hang out with.
So true.
It's
So
so
true.
valuable because when you find them, they like raise like your IQ, they like challenge you. When you're slacking off, they like, they say to you things like, what's wrong? Do you not like money?
Yeah.
The backslide. they say things like that, or like they introduce you to new people, give you new opportunities. So it's hard to find a really cool guy that when you find a bunch of them, which is what we were together in a little nucleus, a little crew,
Yeah.
everybody is jealous of that. It's literally like the Avengers assemble. And when you can
Yeah.
create that in your life, or you get that in your life, everything just excels exponentially, and you never look back, and nothing is ever the same again. It's just way better than it can ever be. And I think
Yeah.
that might be part of like what you miss. I know you have that like a couple crews. I think you had like some sales guys you were working with before as well. Some guys that like I don't know if you're still with them or not, but they're like little crews that you created. But to have like
Yeah.
an international like jet setting crew of like badass dudes, that's like so priceless. That's like you cannot replace that with anything. That's even worth more than money, because if you hang out with those guys, your money will automatically increase exponentially as you challenge each other, introduce each other to new things. There's a little bit of competition, a little bit of friendly brotherly love as well there. So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
positive things are there to put you in the right direction, the right path.
100%, man. 100%. And, I mean, everybody's kind of built their own crew ever since then. Julian has got a full on family now. He's got like 2 kids. Um, and for me, it's also like the company that I've built here, like all the A players that I've built, that I've brought up, all the raw diamonds that I made in the A players. Like, it's still really, really awesome to hang out with my crew here. Like, for
Yeah.
example, we're all meeting up in Cyprus, or wherever the hell we are. I mean, just the other day I was in Vienna with my head of sales, Nico. I mean, this guy is closing freaking 2-3 million a year for us, helping out our clients, just being an absolute legend. And that's cool too. But like you said, like at the same time, it's different when they're kind of working for you, and it's very different than when they're kind of doing something similar to you and you're in a friendly competition, but
Yeah.
there's no hierarchy between them. It's just like a bunch of guys that are giving each other shit. It's almost like literally like literal brothers. You're teasing each other, but you actually love and respect everyone, and you're collaborating and all that. That's still really, really fucking valuable. And he has that. Like, unless you're in a fraternity at like freaking Harvard or something, a regular person, a regular guy or girl for that matter, doesn't have that. And that's very, very valuable. So, that's also why I said, like, yo, let's get together, let's collab, because nothing keeps us from still collaborating. It's almost like the gorilla that has been in a cage for like decades, and then you open the cage door and the gorilla is still in the cage in his mind. That's kind of what we're thinking is, oh, we can't collaborate anymore because everybody does their own thing, and we're in different niches now. We're like, so like, why the fuck not? So when I told Jeffrey, I'm like, hey man, do you want to be in my podcast? Send me over your tour schedule. And he's like, here's my tour schedule. And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And doesn't work. Oh, Berlin. Oh, cool. That's like a week before I got to be in somewhere. I can't even remember. I'll come to Berlin. We literally only flew to Berlin, got an Airbnb for like 4 days or something like that, just to meet Jeff, just to
Wow.
meet fucking Jeff. And I
Yeah.
did this, and we knocked out the podcast on day 1. Day 2, he was busy. Day 3, we went for freaking Schweinsbraten in Berlin, some restaurant. And I met his girlfriend, and we just shot the shit, and it was fucking fun. It was really freaking amazing. And I try to do the same with Julian. It just hasn't worked yet. But at the same time, I'm like, why can't we meet and be freaking best friends? And why? I mean, we're messaging each other all the time. Just Julian sent me our favorite ABBA song just like 2 days ago. We have this like freaking song that we used to listen to on tour when we were both like broke. I mean, no, he was actually really rich back then, but I was an assistant. I was broke as hell. And he sent me this ABBA song, and he's like, it still brings me back to these times, man. Um, but at the same
Right.
time, like I missed the whole in-person kind of meetup thingy. So yeah, man, it's gonna happen, and I'm super freaking hyped to have you here on the pod, man. Because and it's also funny on a side note. Like I've had you're the third podcast I have in like 8 or 9 days, and with you, you're the only person where we started and it just instantly hit it off. Like you and I, we just instantly have this chemistry, and we instantly started ranting, and we're like an hour in now. There's been no boring parts. It's just like, and that's really, really funny, because usually with like I'm always flabbergasted when other people are not as charismatic, right? And then I just start rambling. No,
Yeah, yeah.
I love every single guest that I've had on the podcast, but like my Primoz, who's filming and doing the audio and everything, he has to text me. He's like, Max, let your guest talk. Like, shut up. And I'm like, but they're not as charismatic. You know, like I have so many things to
Yeah.
say. And like with you, it's just like I just let you talk and you're just crushing it. And it's very rare because you're one of the only people in the world that has this like top 0.1% charisma that is required to do what you're doing, you know?
Yeah, it's so funny, man. It's really weird. It's like the most strangest skill that I forget. And it's like a skill that like you get and then you never lose it and it will come back in your life and help you at some point. You forget you have it and you're like, you don't realize it's weird. You don't really, you're like, oh yeah, it's weird now. Oh yeah, it's weird. Like the amount of experiences we had. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man. I think you said like be able to replicate those times with new crews is important. By the way, your sales guy, Nico, I think I'm actually going to be hanging out with him. He knows some people that I know in South America. I think I'm gonna be
That's
hanging out with him.
right.
He's gonna be like down here next week. I think he knows a guy that I know named Rob, and they all hang out. They do finca parties.
Yes.
Remember old Justin from the crew? Justin used to be like assist Owen, Justin Gonzalez.
I think so. Oh yeah, is it the guy with the crazy tattoo here?
He's actually here right now, literally.
Oh,
That's
bring him
true.
in.
Justin,
Bring
come
him
here. Justin, Justin, come say what's up. Come say what's up. You know, I just
Bring him in. Bring him in. Justin, my man. Oh, you got a lot more hair, man.
Yeah, dude. You look cool, man. Good setup. Looks
Thanks,
sick.
dude. Thanks. We do have a good setup here. We're just chilling. This is actually an alien cocoon. It's not attached to anything. It just looks like it. It's just alien that is making it float above.
sexual innuendo, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know what it replicates. You don't have to say it. So yeah, Justin's here. I think Nico's gonna be here next week, actually.
Perfect.
So you hung out with Nico before, right?
Yeah, of course. Sick.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So it's
Grinding.
there's a
Grind
little,
all day.
crew this side of the border. So if you come out, you'll we got a good setup for you here as well.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Man, I might just now hearing that you guys are already gonna hang out with Nico and Rob is a good friend of Nico and he's the closer or he was the closer of one of my clients. And it's just like, oh, it's all a big family, man, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I was hanging out with Rob last night. Went to dinner with him last night, actually.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So your crew is my crew. We're just exchanging staff, basically.
Yeah. It's exactly how it is.
They're working for both people. So don't say anything about it. You know, they're working for both people. Yeah. So all the same guys I'm hanging around with them as well. Yeah, man. So it's like just got to get you down here. Just got to get over there at some point, and like it's all good.
Beautiful.
And I love Prague. If you're still there, I love Praha.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Prosím. I love.
I don't even know. You speak better Czech than I do, even though I was there for almost a year last year. So that's
I
good.
had a Czech girlfriend for a bit.
That's why.
Yeah. I live there. I love Prague. My soul was in Prague. My soul home. You know.
Yeah. So what's your travel schedule like? Walk me through. So you're gonna stay in South America all winter, or what's going on?
I'm just doing this temporarily because I just wanted to get out of like North American Western culture, bureaucracy, and the Trudeau government.
Yeah. All right.
Podcasts will now be taxed and like all this like crazy stuff, like stealing people's Bitcoin, and like I'm just like, man, I need to get out of there for a bit, you know, get out of like this like Canadian North Korean democracy, anyways. So or dictatorship. So I had to get out of there for a bit. I've been doing that. I've been escaping. I tell everybody I'm a Canadian refugee, escaping the cold climate in the winters, coming to enjoy their celebrations, their food, and their women anywhere I go. So getting out of that. My travel schedule next, I got Playa Carmen boot camp. I got boot camps in, I think, a few in North America. I got Europe in the winter. I don't love coming to Europe in winter, Scandinavia and stuff. It's pretty cold. But
this is it. How do I see your tour? How do I see your tour dates? Where do I go?
Madison in person, MADISONINPERSON.com. So I do have a Scandinavia story. It's pretty cool. That's how I met Ariana Grande in the back of a hotel in Scandinavia.
Wait, okay, walk me through it. Okay, how did you meet Ariana Grande at the back of a hotel?
All right, so here's the story. Okay, and nobody believes the story because it sounds so crazy. We're in was it Sweden? No, we're in Oslo. Not the weird places. We're in Oslo. It's like dead of January. It's like a weird day. It's like a Thursday, some strange day. I'm at the restaurant. I'm just like bored. You know, like it's cold. It's winter out. It's like minus 30 something degrees Celsius. I'm bored. I'm like, I'm gonna go walk the back alleys of this hotel because there's nothing to do. Maybe I'll find a vending machine with some chips or some like Snickers bar, right? I'm walking to these back, like you know, like the conference rooms have like these long hallways by the conference rooms and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Walking around there, and it's like the lights are half on, half on. And I'm just like my buddy Jesse. We decided like swing by the restaurant, which is closed, the restaurant in the hotel. And we're just talking about stroopwafels. We're just like shooting the shit because we came from Amsterdam recently and we love stroopwafels. If anybody doesn't
Yeah.
know what these are, they're circular discs, like I guess waffles with caramel. And if you
Yeah.
we discovered recently that you could put a stroopwafel on top of your cup of tea or your coffee, and it starts to melt and it makes it warm and hot. It's better than taking it in the microwave. So we discovered this, and we like this is crazy, right? We literally packed a suitcase, a carry-on suitcase that we bought just for stroopwafels. It was like 70, it was like 70 to 80 different like the ones I think. And then we even bought some for our friends and family. It's more than 70. It was like 7 or 8 packages of stroopwafels, and each package is like this. So we're like hype about this, man. Like the students are gone. We got stroopwafels. Like, and I just hear a voice, a small voice go, "Stroopwafels? I love stroopwafels." I'm like, who is this? Like out of the corner of my ear. And it's this girl, you know, and she's kind of like dressed in a sweatshirt. It's like old, it's like baggy, and she has her hair in a ponytail, and she has like tattoos on her hands and her neck. And I was like, I'm not really paying attention to this girl. And she's like just going on, like she's like, oh, what I would do for a stroopwafel, I would do anything for them right now. I love them so much. She's like, I would do anything to have one right now. I'm like, what's this girl going on about? Like, what is this? You know? And she's like really just like involved in our conversation. She fully inserted herself in our conversation. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty interesting. And we try to like walk away, and she's still going. And she seems friendly enough. And you know, she kind of looks like a girl from like New York, not to be like not to say it's in a bad way, but she looked a little like a little like Bronx, you know, like she was like not really made up. She's kind of looked like a little hood, like a little ghetto for a bit, you know, like, and I was like, I was kind of like, all right, whatever, it's all good. And so we talk to her for like 10, 15 minutes. This goes on, and we go upstairs, and we're just like making some jokes, right? And I'm like, you know who that girl looks like? I say, my assistant Jesse. I say, that girl looks like the president of the Ariana Grande fan club. That's what she looks like. Like she would love to one day be Ariana Grande, but she's not. You know, like she aspires to that one day if she's lucky. And then we're just like laughing, like, oh. I'm like, where is Ariana Grande right now? Anyway, so like I just go on Google and I Google it, and it's like Ariana Grande like tour concert sold out yesterday in like Sweden. I'm like, what? And at this point, like Jesse starts freaking out. He's like, how did I not know it was her? Like, there's 2 people I'm in love with, Taylor Swift and Ariana Grande. Oh. How did I not know that like I was like in a 15-minute set with my crush like of all time? It's because she didn't look like how she looks. She looks very without makeup. And to be honest, I think she was like airbrushing out her hand tattoos and her neck tattoos. If you remember, she had like a very good girl image before. This is like before Pete Davidson and stuff. She had a very good girl image. And so I think her photographer would actually have to go in and Photoshop out the neck or arm tattoos, or like they put makeup on it. So she looked totally different, bro. You know what I mean? Like not done up, just like whatever. And so we're like, all right, well, she likes us. Let's go back downstairs. So we actually like opened up our suitcases, stroopwafels, like went downstairs, like hung out and kicked it. You know what I mean? Because we had stroopwafels, and like, what are you gonna do with like Oslo, like at like 1 in the morning, like 11 at night, 1 in the morning, like in the middle of nowhere in a fucking winter storm. So we just kicked it with her. She was mad cool, and like, you know, I'll leave the story at that. And it was a lot of fun. And yeah, the next day, like I remember her like seeing her like posting on Instagram, like she's literally like upstairs. There's like posting on Instagram, like she's like, she's like, oh, I want to get out of this place. And then the next time we go downstairs, it's like 7 black SUVs like at the front door. Hairstylist. It was like, you know, makeup person and wardrobe manager. And I think she just really enjoyed a moment to escape and just like be herself. She didn't have to be the celebrity that she was in that moment with us. She was just like, was the girl who could have anything. She could have a Ferrari outside. She could have had 1 million, you know, whatever she wanted. All she wanted was some little stupid pastries from this bakery that we happen to have like, in our suitcase. You know what I mean? And it's like, I this has to go with, I guess, the lesson here. The moral of the story is when it comes to social skills, like celebrities love the ability to just be humans around you. They don't, that's a gift to them because they don't get that anywhere else. They don't get it with anyone. And it's so hard and rare for them to get that in public. So when they can have it, they're just like, they're so thankful for it and they appreciate it so much.
Yeah. Wow.
That's the story.
Wow. I actually, I know, I'm I'm too old to really understand who's cool right now and who's hot. But every time I see something of Ariana Grande, I'm like, holy shit, she's beautiful. At
Yes.
least, I mean, of course, right, made up and all that on stage. I mean, on stage, almost everybody looks beautiful, but she's exactly kind of my type. I have two
Mhm.
types, and you and I remember we have similar types. I have two types.
Uh,
One is the pretty tall, blonde, slender, blue eye, long blonde, straight hair, and that's 100% my girlfriend. We've been
mhm.
you met her many times. We're still together. And the other one is this kind of like petite brunette kind of girl, and that's kind of where Ariana Grande falls in.
Right. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I remember
everything in between.
we have accidentally dated some of the same person at one time. Not at the same time, but we've accidentally dated the same person. I remember before that happened once. But yeah,
Yeah,
like
I remember too. I think
yeah,
I think I think I know which one who you mean. Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't even remember. I just remember it happened. I don't remember who this was though, but I remember that happened. And yeah, man, it's like that's my type. Ariana Grande is definitely a type. But it was really interesting because I didn't recognize I didn't like I didn't have the in-person physiological response I thought I would have. Does that make
Mm,
sense?
mm.
Like, somebody in video versus when you see them in person, it's like sometimes there's chemistry and it's a different kind of chemistry than you want. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
friendly, sometimes it's romantic. And I didn't have like that, like savage, like lustful attraction in person. I was like, oh, she's like really nice. It was like that for me. Like, oh, she's really nice. She's like really
Yeah.
cool. Like, oh, she's
I
like
mean,
really
that's
positive.
I mean that's what things like on a micro level, things like makeup, hair, outfit, and on a macro level, things like brand, stage, show
Yeah,
do is like they turn a fucking regular person into a star, like a
yeah,
literal proverbial star. So, and then like all we know, the only context we see that person in, unless we meet them in person, is through the star thing. We see them on stage, we see them on a show, we see them on the Letterman show, we see them, so it's just being somewhere high up and looking great and being beautiful. But then we meet someone without any of the stuff around it. And we're like, oh, who are you? And they're just like a normal person, but we can't relate to that because that's not how we know them.
yeah.
So
I
that's
got
always interesting. Like,
I got a story about that too. If you want to hear, I
hell
got a
yeah.
Jonah Hill story.
What story?
A Jonah Hill story. You know Jonah Hill, the actor who
Fucking love Jonah Hill. Let's go.
he's great, man. So I'm in LA one day. There's also a Megan Fox pickup story, but that's not important.
All right. Oh, that's not important.
no, it's not. I'm in LA one day, and I'm going to this place called Blue Bottle. That's my favorite coffee place down in like by this place called Backyard Bowls. They have these acai bowls. They're really good. And I'm just chilling there one day, and I see like just Jonah Hill just coming down the street, right? And he's just like he's like not having the day, bro. Like this must have been back when he was like dating that girlfriend he's like famous for now, like the ex-girlfriend, or like was like saying like terrible stuff about him in the media now. Like he was probably dating her at that time. He's having like not a good day. Like you can see it on his face. He's just not in the mood. And then these very opportunistic people came up to him. They're like holding his hand so hard, like Jonah, Jonah. And they're like not letting go of him. He's just trying to get his coffee, man. And they're holding his hand so much he has to like walk like around a tree to break the contact of the handshake. Like they wouldn't let go of him. Like, use the tree as an obstacle. And
Yeah.
so he comes in behind me and he's at the cafe. Now he's in the cafe, right? And he's just like, I remember I just turn around. I'm like, it's just one of those days, huh? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, and I wanted to say to him, like, bro, like, how are you doing? Like, literally, just like look him in the face, and be like, bro, how are you doing? Like, what's up? Like, let me know if you need anything. Like, human to human for a moment, because I saw like he had nobody do that for him. So even like when he got his coffee, like the person at the front desk was very nice to him. But as soon as he turned away, they're like, oh my gosh, I served Jonah Hill, and you know how I served, like they're telling the story like it boosts their ego. And I remember just like chatting to him at this coffee place, and he was just like he just needed a moment. He just needed a friend for a moment, and like he couldn't even escape his moment of escaping. And that was really just wild to see that, and to chat to him about that. And we always tell that story of like we always tell the story of like me and my buddy Jesse. We tell the story like to people on boot camp, people we're talking to, because the most high value people, the way to relate to them is to let them be a person.
Yeah. Amen.
Luke used to have this line. He would say, just exist with the girl. If you can walk up to a stunning 10 and just exist with that girl, that is something she hasn't experienced in a long time. You'll stand up from everybody else who's trying to get validation or something from her or something her to say something about themselves.
Mm.
Because she doesn't get that chance. And when you give a celebrity or high value person that chance, they'll love you. They'll love spending time with you. And I've had lots of encounters like that where I just like end up
Yeah.
kicking somebody, like some celebrity, like to 3 a.m. in like a hotel room, and like we just hang out or whatever, or like some model, Playboy model with everybody knows, end up like dating for something like that. But I just never talk about it. Like I've dated, like I would say it off camera, but I've dated people that I cannot even talk about. That I wouldn't talk about it because they dated me for that exact same reason, because
Yeah.
they wouldn't have to like worry about it on a red carpet, or they wouldn't have to like express it verbally. They wouldn't have to like justify it in the media or to their PR rep, which is like, oh, that's cool. Like, sure. And
Yeah.
they're happy to do that. Yeah.
It's something. Well, first of all, incredible stories here from you. I mean, I lived in LA for a while as well, but I never met anyone famous. I once saw
Yeah.
Dan Bilzerian. Like, I once saw him in the club. I'm like, oh shit, is that Bilzerian? And I met one of the dire wolf puppies from the Game of Thrones. That's as close as I got. But you said something very beautiful there, and that's like, and I related to that, of course, on a much, much smaller scale. But I remember it must have been my third or fourth world tour. And it was the one world tour that really almost like cost me my life, so to speak, because I think I've had years where I was on like 50 cities in a year, where I had like a weekend off in the whole, and that was like the weekend between Christmas and New Year's, right? I remember like I was coming home on December 23rd from Gothenburg, Sweden, and I was back on tour on the 1st of January on my way to London. And somewhere in that time, I realized exactly what you said. It's like nobody asks you how you actually are. You meet more people than ever before. You meet nicer people. They all say they love you and you're great than ever before. But at the same time, nobody actually cares about you as a person. They just care about you as the concept, right? As in your case, the singer or the actor, or in my case, it was the coach or the guy from YouTube, or my role model. Like, that was the only thing that people saw within me. They literally, it's the most objectifying, disgusting thing in the world. But you can't really do anything, because at the same time, you got to be fucking grateful that you have people that look up to you, that follow you, that come to your events. And I remember it was like I would do a 3-hour speech in front of 300, 400 people. And then, at the end, like a free tour. And then at the end, I would stand on the side next to the stage, and people would line up, right? And they all would shake my hand, and they would take photos, and they would all say like, oh my God, like I watch all your videos and da-da-da and da-da-da and this and that. But what it actually was in reality, it was all just taking. It was all like, here's the max slice, the max cake, and I want to have my fucking slice of that shit. And they just took and took and took and took until I literally was just a shell. I was just this empty shell. All the energy had been given to everyone. And everybody's like, hey, can I have some energy from you? And you're like, well, I got like whatever, 1,000 energy, but here's one, right? And then the next one and the next one. And after 1,000 people, you got no more energy. And they're like, well, can I just get like a 1%? Like, all right, here's a little bit more energy of me. And then at the end, I was so sucked off that energy. I didn't have anything else to give anymore. And I remember I even had to tell my assistant back then, I'm like, whatever you do, please don't go away. Please just stay there with me. Like, at no point ever can I be alone, because it was almost like my assistant sitting next to me would like protect my energy a little bit. Because he would be there. There would be a person that knows me as a person, and not just as this fucking concept. And that was really tough. And that's also why I remember I got like 1 or 2 internal reviews, meaning a review that a one-on-one client of mine would not write publicly, but he would send that back to our concierge people, and they would say like, hey, like something wrong with Max. He has like zero energy, and I constantly feel like he doesn't want to be there. Wow. And that's really and that's where I realized like it's fucking true. I just want to go home, man. I just want to play video games and be by myself and all that jazz. And then I flew home on the 23rd of December, and in my head I'm like, finally, like, days off. But of course, what happened was, now my family wants the energy. They're like, son, brother, you're back. Great. Come sit at the fucking table with us.
Right.
And I'm like, hey guys, I need a moment. Like, let me come. And they're like, what do you think you're too good now, Mr. Travel the World, making millions? You know, they totally misread it because I'm just like, guys, I can't. And I remember it was Christmas Eve, and my dad was like preparing the table for the Christmas feast, and I was just sitting on the couch next to the dinner area, and I was just like staring into the void, you know, just like being by myself. And of course, everybody wanted to talk to me. Everybody wanted me to talk about my travels. And my dad was like, son, like, aren't you going to join helping your family, like make up the table? And I'm like, I can't. And he's like, what do you mean you can't? Like, you're too lazy to do, like, you think you're too good now for us, right? And I'm just like, and that was the moment where I broke. So I just started
Mhm.
crying. And it was the first time my dad had seen me cry since I was a toddler or a child, you know. It just burst. I bursted out tears and I said, I can't. And I remember my voice breaking. And my dad looks at me, and at first he's super confused, you know. And my dad's a big guy. He's a big guy. And he just looks at me like that. And I couldn't tell, like, is he angry or confused? I couldn't read the emotion through my teary eyes. And he just starts charging at me. And I remember there was like a stool, like a chair. He just like yanks it out of the way. And I'm like, is he gonna smack me now? Like, my dad had never hit me. So I was like, is this the moment? I'm 22, 23 years old. I'm getting hit by my dad. And what he actually does is he just hugs me, and he hugs me so tight. And I'm like, and I'm just pressed into his shoulder, and I'm just fucking crying. I'm letting it all out. And he cries too. I can hear it. And he says, you know, like, son, like, I get you. I get it. I get it. Sometimes we just can't do things. It's all fine. It's all good. And that was a really, really beautiful experience that I shared there with my dad. And I'm grateful for that. But what I was kind of trying to get back to is like, people don't understand that about famous people. It's like they don't want to take a fucking selfie with you. They don't give a shit. But if you treat them as a normal human being, they're actually going to be grateful. It will be refreshing to them. And to wrap that thought up, when I started working, I told you earlier how amazing it was for me to shoot a video with Tyler or with Julian. I couldn't freaking believe it. I was the biggest fanboy in the world, but I never let Julian or Tyler or anybody feel that. I
Mhm.
never asked Tyler for a picture when I was his free fucking unpaid assistant. I never asked, like, can I take a selfie with you for my buddies at home that don't believe me that I'm your assistant? I never asked for any of that until I was literally featured on his channel, you know? And it was the same for Julian. I was like, I never had a selfie with Julian because it would have been the frame of me, fan, you, the cool guy, and I'm leeching this value of it by taking a selfie. I held back on that until I was considered more or less an equal, and I was actually featured in their videos. And that moment was much more sweeter because, to be honest, I could have gone down the fanboy route, and I could have gotten that selfie. I could have gotten that little value leech off Tyler or of Julian or whoever. But I'm pretty sure that I would have then never become an instructor because they would have just categorized me. This is the fanboy guy. And I didn't want that. I want them to see me as a potential also coach. So
Mhm.
that's how it did.
That's a story. That's a story, man. I don't have anything to add to that story, bro. That's like that was deep. Had the example, had the expression, it had the that story had everything, man. I can't compute with that story. How do I follow up after that story? Dad, like, pushing the stool away to the corner. How do I stool? Ah,
Shout out
man,
to my dad, man. Shout out to my dad. He's 60
yeah.
now. He's actually flying out here to Cyprus. He's gonna hang with me for like 10 days or something. It's gonna be his little vacation. And yeah, man, he's a cool dude. And now no more crying.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm
yeah,
all
yeah.
good now.
But what you said there, I could definitely relate to it. I've had that same situation where I'm just like, I got nothing left to give. I'm like,
Yeah.
because the job is giving, like people don't
Yeah.
realize, let's even say to like be successful. Okay, let me say it this way. People don't realize that to be successful or to be famous means you have a sacrifice. There is a lie
Yes.
that is being told in the world is that you can have anything you want. Well, you can have anything, but you cannot have everything at the same time.
Yeah.
It's
Amen.
impossible. You have to sacrifice something to get another thing. You either when you're broke, you sacrifice your time to get a skill. When you get the skill, you sacrifice the skill to get money. There's a sacrifice, but in this world, we're told you can have everything. So people don't realize that when somebody's famous, they've made sacrifices. And often they sacrifice family time, energy, like things like that. I can remember in 2021, it was the first year after the pandemic. I think it's 2021, 2020. I was on tour in Helsinki, which I love. Helsinki, Kampi.
Yeah.
Um, I love Helsinki. I was on tour there, and I get a phone call that my uncle has passed away. Okay. And at this moment, I gotta be like, am I gonna spend the $3,000 to go over there? I asked one of my aunts, I'm like, should I spend the $3,000 on the flight to go over there and go to the funeral? And they literally tell me, well, he's already passed away, and if you come, there's nothing else you can't really do anything. You're just there.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. So this is the sacrifice. This is the sacrifice that it comes to, like, fulfilling a client's coaching program, being in another country, overseas. There's a sacrifice that's made at a level that people don't even understand or they've never experienced. With every level, there's a new devil. That just means with every level of success, there's a new level or devil of sacrifice. Remember, I was talking to one of my buddies who has a company now. He's in Forbes 40 under 40 list. Sorry, Bloomberg's 40 under 40. Very successful guy. He's been in some of my videos. He's in Canada. He has a top furniture company in Canada. It does $200 million a year. And he tells me that he sat in his room for 3 years and just worked. For 3 years, he even moved back home. He had an apartment. He moved back home to save money and to work on his business for 3 years. And now he's like one of the most successful people in the country. He's actually, literally speaking, he makes more money than Alex Hormozy, literally speaking, but he's just unknown. Right? And this guy, he made sacrifices, but people don't realize that they say he just has it all. And what he enjoys the most, the people that like just don't take from him, because everybody wants to go on his yacht. Everybody wants to drive with him in his Lamborghini. Everybody, when he goes to a restaurant, he says, everybody always assumes that I'm going to pick up the bill. They don't even ask me if they can pay. They don't even ask. He's like, fine, I'm going to do it anyways. But when there's a group of people at a table, they always assume that I am getting the bill. Right? That's crazy. So what I try to do when I'm around somebody like that, or something, because I can relate to it, I'm like, I try to not ask him for anything. Or I try to do little things for him, like pick up something on the way. Yo, do you need this, bro? Whatever, I got you. Let me hook you up. And because people who are in high demand or high value or successful, they've made sacrifices and they just don't, they need a break. They just need a break. And if you're around them, like, it's an incredible relationship you can build just from that. And I've experienced it too in my life. I experienced it where everybody's always like, your job is to answer questions. Everybody's always asking what they can get. In dating, like, bro, I'm just so done with dating. I'm like over dating. I'm so done. You have no idea. Like, if I want to, like right now I'm on a podcast with you, so I'm like sitting in a chair, like kind of like chill. If I want to, I could be super charismatic, right? Me and you had experiences. We have that one time where I went skinny dipping with 2 girls in a video blog on the beach in Miami. Like, I can pull up the charm if I want to. I don't even want to go on a date anymore, because when I go on a date, the person is automatically thinking like what they can get. I'm going to get them a taxi, or I'm going to pick them up. I'm going to be courteous. I'm going to provide conversation. I'm going to be funny. I'm going to be charming. I'm going to be witty. I'm going to pay for the meal. I'm going to escalate things along. I'm going to flirt. What are they going to do? Sit there and just kind of like reciprocate it and not give anything back. It's like, oh, I'll accept your flirting. I'll accept your meal. I'll accept your charming. I'll accept this. And they think they just have to show up. So I'm so over any relationship where it's like not reciprocated. Any relationship not reciprocated, I'm just done with it. I don't have the patience for it. There's no place for it in my life. I seem like I'm rude. I'll just like get up and just like leave a situation. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not needed here anymore. I'll literally say like my presence is not needed in this situation anymore. And I'll like get up and like I'll explain it, but I'll leave gracefully. I'm like, hey, I really shouldn't be here anymore. Do you want like a taxi home? I'll help them to get out of like work, the dinner or whatever, because I'm just like done completely with just like give. Yeah. Also, I'm a bad receiver. I don't know about you, but are you bad at receiving things from people? I'm really bad at it. I'm really bad at it.
Whenever someone gives me something, I feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I don't want to discourage people to give me something now when I listen to that. Please do. But like
I saw the podcast, you don't like getting stuff back, so I ain't getting you shit.
Yeah. Like when someone goes out of their way to just give me a present, I'm like, this is the nicest thing I've ever got. Like because for me it's so far out of my reality that someone thinks of me and they want to give me something nice, because I'm just like you. I'm so used to giving, to being the giver, And when I'm in
Yeah.
this other role of being the receiver, I'm like, I'm not used to this at all. Makes
Hmm.
me feel very weird. I mean, I'm always very, very grateful, but like almost every single gift I've ever received, I remember, like that suit jacket that you gave me. I'm like, I mean, you didn't give it to me, but you let me wear it. I'm like, I remember this because I'm not used to getting stuff without asking for it.
That's funny, bro. You're like, you ever see the movie Harry Potter with Dobby? When Dobby gets like a piece of cloth from Harry Potter, he's like, Dobby's giving Harry Potter cloth. Dobby's a free man. He's like shook, like in these like tattered clothes. He's never received anything. He's just like,
Yeah, exactly. That's how I am. I'm
like
like
Dobby
Dobby.
from Harry Potter. Bro, I'm wearing shoes right now. My shoes are like these 2013 like Air Max or 2023 like I don't know Air Maxes. They're kind of like falling
All
apart
right.
now. I got these from my ex-girlfriend. She like gave them to me. They're like $220 shoes. I'm like, you bought me shoes? Like, I'm like, you could have gotten me the cheaper ones. She's like, yeah, but you deserve the best ones. I'm like, huh? Like for a week, I was like, I need to go down on her or something. Like I was just
Oh
like,
my God.
I don't understand like how to like reciprocate this. Like, do you
Yeah,
understand what it, like she's like, it's just shoes, relax. But it's because when you have an audience, like you're a content creator, back to that. When you have an audience, you're every day you wake up, you say, how can I give to my audience? What does my audience
yeah,
need? How can they
yeah.
get give them what they want? How do I serve my audience? How do I serve these people that I've never met before in my life? Every day I wake up and I ask myself that question. Would they prefer this
Exactly.
video or would they prefer that video? So you're just like in
Yeah.
the like thinking of give. And then you're like, somebody's giving to me? Like, why? Like, you're
What?
like
Why?
twitching,
What?
like a dog is
Exactly.
what do they want? Why are they doing this? It's kind of strange,
Yeah.
but
Exactly. Like I'm not used to that. Like my girlfriend's also very much in giving. She's a Scandinavian, beautiful woman, and Scandinavian women that love giving. So I
mhm.
get like like the best presents from her. Like I got a wallet, like a Louis Vuitton wallet, and she doesn't have her own business. She just works a 9 to 5. Not even because she has to, because she loves to. And she gave me this beautiful Louis Vuitton wallet with like my initials in it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is like perfect. And she's so smart about it. She would like ask me, and me being dumb as I am, she's like, if you had a wallet, like what is important? And I'm like, well, it needs to have a zipper because all my keys could go in there. Of course, I don't freaking get it that she's asking me this because she's planning to buy me this for my birthday, right? And then she buys it for my birthday, and I'm like, how did you know that I want to have one with a zipper? And she's like, because I asked you, and I can't even remember. And
Bro,
it's very,
that's
it's so,
huge. The fact that she even asked you because I asked you.
yeah,
She
it's
the fact
crazy,
that
huh?
she asked, right?
Yeah, yeah. So exactly that she's like, oh, I bet he has a preference. So I'm gonna ask him instead of just buying him some random stuff. So that's very beautiful. Like when someone thinks and gives you something thoughtful, I always appreciate that. Anyways, to get back to like the point we had like an hour ago, your tour
Yeah.
dates, man. I got him here. So so December 29th to 31st, Playa del Carmen. So you're gonna celebrate New Year's with your clients, or
Yeah, let me just readjust this camera here. Yeah, that's the idea. I want to
cool?
do a New Year's Eve boot camp. Playa del Carmen is very fun. It's a great party city. A lot of people know it
Yes.
because down there just through the pandemic. They went down there and had a lot of fun. And it's one
Love
of
it.
the best New Year's I've ever seen. There's a great street there called Fifth Street. It's got all the clubs that are like lined up back to back. You can just jump and bar hop from
Nice.
one to another. It's like the South American Fifth Street or Sixth Street in Austin, or like the
Yeah.
meat
Yeah. The Sixth Street. Yeah.
so I love that place. I want to do that. It's a more fun thing to do. I don't want to celebrate New Year's Eve in the cold. I want to celebrate New Year's Eve somewhere warm, doing something fun
Yeah.
with
I
people
gotcha. I
that are
get it.
cool.
And then, oh my God. And then May 3rd to 5th, Amsterdam. A week after that, Norway, Oslo. And then a week after that, Budapest, Hungary. And then a week after that, Prague. We'll make it happen, man. Mark my words, Madison. Mark my words. Everybody listening to this, you and I are going to make it happen in person. Because, first of all, these are great cities in Europe. Probably I'll meet you in Amsterdam or in Prague. I'm
Mhm.
eyeing these two dates. It's May. I don't have any plans. I mean, if I'm on the continent, I'll make it happen. I'll fly in and then we'll have some steak together, man. Because you and I have shared a lot of things, wink, but we have not shared a steak because I'm not vegetarian anymore since
True.
1.5 years.
I got you. What did I get you when you were here? Was it like poutine or like beaver tails? What did I get you in Canada?
The beaver tails, man. I remember the beaver tail. And here's what I remember. because you said like you got these Stura waffles thingy, right?
Mm.
Because you like him so much. So when I first went to Montreal, you showed me and Julian the beaver tails.
Mm.
But I was still a broke assistant. I did not get paid. And I was like constantly malnourished, calorie in like what is it called?
Intermittent fasting,
Yeah, no,
unintentional
not even intermittent. No,
fasting.
no, involuntary fasting. That was what I gotta say.
I'm
So,
counting my calories. I'm on intermittent fasting is just anorexia for men. That's what it is.
exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, it was very involuntary. I'm a fat kid on the inside, and I ate this beaver tail, which for those who don't know, it's like a baked out of fat bread with Nutella and banana on it, and it's like the best. It's like a heart attack thing, but it's so good. And me being me always having no middle ground, I eat this thing that you paid for. I think I pretty vividly remember someone paid for it. I'm assuming it was you because
Yeah,
you're a cool fucking dude.
not gonna take you to eat something that you don't like and make you pay for it. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
paid for
So I
it.
eat this and I'm like, this is the best thing ever. And if I ever make it from an assistant to an instructor and I come back here, I'm gonna order 20. So lo and behold, a freaking year later, I'm in Montreal again, and I'm like, I want to go get beaver tails. And I just walk in and I'm like, yeah, 20 beaver tails, please. So I just get 20 beaver tails. And they come in this little box, like, right? They give it to you in this like cardboard box. So I'm literally stacking them up, just like cardboard box above cardboard box. And it's like a cartoon, where it's like higher than me, and I'm like trying to balance it walking out. And then I just brought him back to the Airbnb, and I had like my whole crew, me and whatever the shadows or the local assistant dude, and we were like 5 guys or something like that, and we just had 20 beaver tails that we shared, and we just munched the hell out of that. So here goes out to all my friends from Montreal. Beaver tails, best thing ever.
That's crazy story, man. It's so funny how you wanted the simplest thing, like when you got paid. Same things like Ariana Grande, like I would like to have a stroopwafel. Like I do anything for a stroopwafel. Reminds me of back in the day, like
Yeah, so
like
Ariana, if you're watching this, you and I would be a great fit together. I mean, you with the strip waffles and me. I mean, come on, that means something, right? There's a reason why you ran into my friend Madison. You have tattoos, I have tattoos. We both like food. We have so much in common. I mean, it's great. Let's
she's single
hit
now
me up
again.
on the
No,
DMs.
she
Huh?
is single. She's single now again, so she's divorced
Oh,
again, I
she
think.
is. Let
Yeah,
me
yeah.
check out her Instagram. Like again, like I'm so behind on like cool music and stuff like that. We're both musicians, I used to play in metal bands. That's very similar to what Ariana Grande does,
You
right?
guys have metal tattoos. It's perfect.
Yeah. Ariana
Max
Grande,
Tornow.
38.
Yeah, Max
She
Tornow,
has
Mac Miller, always the same name, basically the same name.
basically the same name. Holy shit, she has 380 million followers.
What? Huh?
I'm not worthy. Okay, she looks very different what I thought. Damn, what happened to her, man? How old is she now?
No idea. She's got to be early
She
30s.
looks she looks kind of like an alien.
I would assume she's like 31 now, I would think. I would assume.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? Look, she's very beautiful, no doubt. But I see her and I'm like, my girlfriend's more beautiful. Oh, she has the hand tattoos. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she looks like she lost too much weight. You know what I'm saying? When
Yeah.
someone is when you're like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, to think about it, she just had a divorce and her ex-boyfriend died. So like, I mean, that's gotta be some like trauma going on there.
oh,
Like imagine like the effects of that on your mental health, right?
wait. So like I said, like I know nothing. So
Yeah.
because you mentioned Mac Miller, that was the DJ, the rapper or something that died of
Yeah.
an
Yeah. Yeah.
overdose or something.
Yeah, exactly. And
And
then
and
she's
that
got
was her husband, or they already were divorced when
I
he.
think I think her and Mac Miller were like engaged, maybe I don't know. And then she just recently got divorced like a month ago or something like that. So I mean, all those things mentally can't be the most satisfying situations. They got to have a play some sort of toll on a human. I can imagine.
I mean, like you said, you can have anything, but not everything at once.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and then stuff is public. That really, when all, your whole life is public and stuff like that. I've had a phase where I was so sick and tired of anything that was in relation to being known. Because if you really think about it, and I've made reels about that, some of them have even gone viral too, where I said, like, if I could choose between money or fame, I always pick money. Because to be fully fair, everybody thinks like, oh, if I was Brad Pitt, my life would be so cool, right? Just like red carpet, everybody. Like Brad Pitt can do nothing. This guy can be in his house, right? If he wants to go somewhere, he needs to go with a convoy. He needs to go masked with a hat on. If he wants to fly somewhere, he can only fly in his private jet. And people, before he say, "Oh, poor guy, you can only fly in a private jet," still fucking sucks. He can't just say, "Hey, let's go to the beach." He needs to go to like a specific private beach where nobody else is. That's fucking inconvenient. Like, is Brad Pitt more free? Or is he actually less free than you and I? Because to be honest, Madison, like I'm not a drinker. I don't drink alcohol very rarely, but theoretically, I could get myself completely shit-faced drunk. I could walk down the street and party it up and then pass out and on the floor. I would wake up the next morning with more or less no consequences. Imagine you were Brad Pitt and you do that. Like your sponsors would drop you, like you'd be on the news, like Brad Pitt getting drunk, like you couldn't get any more of your roles, like you're fucked. And now imagine I always bring up the CEO of IKEA, right? Like his what's the net worth of the CEO of IKEA? Probably like 100 million ish, 200 million or something like that. You, as a guy like that has all the money but zero fame, nobody recognizes this guy. If you're the CEO of IKEA, you can go to the grocery store, you can, behave like shit, you can go to a bar, you can get shit-faced drunk, you can get in arguments with strangers, you can do whatever you want. If you want to go to the beach, go to the beach. Nobody cares. If you want to fly first class, go fly first class. If you want to fly business class, go fly business class. If you just want to just take a bus somewhere, fuck it, because it's convenient. You could do it. So who's actually more free? The CEO of IKEA, who has all the money but zero people know him, or Brad Pitt? Yeah, sure. Brad Pitt walks on the freaking red carpet and everybody thinks he's cool and he's going to be on the big screen, but ultimately, who cares? That's just ego.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn about my ego. What I want is I want to have the maximum amount of freedom with the maximum amount of choice to do what I want, to go where I want, to go there with whom I want, to say what I want, when I want. And I want to be able to do whatever the hell I want. So I'm going to make as much money as possible so I can buy the things that I want to buy, so I can give the things to the people that I want to give things to, so I can buy land, I can grow vegetables, I can invest in this, I can invest in that, I can fly business class, first class, whatever the hell I want. The whole idea why I'm making money is just so I buy myself options. And the more known I am, the less options I have. I mean, just see the fact that I have tattoos on my fingers, right? And these are funny tattoos. These are like the PlayStation buttons here. This is a bird that is in the Austrian Alps, because I thought, like, hey, I'm missing my home. I want to have an Austrian bird with me. There's a compass there. It says GG on my thumbs. Like, do you think I would probably make more money if I didn't have these tattoos? If I would look a little bit more conservative? Sure. And that alone already messes with me. Do you think I would make more money if I didn't say the F word or the S word? Probably, yeah. And that already fucks with me. And I'm saying specifically, it fucks with me because I want to tell myself, hey, Max, you might not make as much money as you would if you were completely clean with your content, but at the same time, it would take away your freedom. And the moment something takes away my freedom, I don't want to do it, because freedom is the highest, most important good that anyone can achieve. And that's why I think that it freaking sucks if you're, quote unquote, too famous.
I often think about, I agree with that, man. I often think about like civilian life. That's what I call it. Like going back in civilian. Because like being a dating coach, Jeffy used to say, is like having a face tattoo. It's like once you've had that face tattoo, it's like there on the internet forever in some way. That's what it's like. So I often think about what it'd be like to do that. I have a buddy of mine who has a Amazon drop shipping company. And
Yeah.
what he does is he just like does like review videos for cameras and stuff online. And he's making like, I don't know, pocketing like $250,000 a year. And that's like net. And he's happy, dude. And he doesn't have to worry about like what people think of him. They don't even know him because it's not even his face on the review videos. It's all like automated shit, like in the Philippines. But me, I wake up and I have 10 notifications of people who are like, thank you, Madison. This is amazing. This video like helped me. Like I'm gonna apply this. And 10 notifications of you suck. Look at this old black guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Has he even ever gone out to a club? And I'm like, yes, I have. So every day I have at least like I'm saying 10 comments like how to put in perspective. But I mean, it's more. It's probably like 30 comments like that a day, right? And it's like being a brand. It's like that is what you are faced to encounter every day. So you do have the beneficial perk of like I walk into a restaurant. Like I walked into this restaurant in Toronto, which is called Cost at the Bisha Hotel, and like an NBA player comes up to me. He's like, "Yo, I love your stuff," and like he like wants my number, wants to like do hang out, right? Like I have that stuff from like basketball players, but I also have like the 20 comments a day that are like, "I hate you" or whatever, right? I have the weird comment where it's like if I go to the airport and they're like, "So what do you do?" It's like I do social skills. It's like, did you ever do like I don't want to say I did dating because they're like, "What's that mean?" Like they want to get into it. You know, am I gonna go to the bank? Am I going to go to the bank and be like, well, sir, I have an Amazon business? I'm like, yes, we're going to approve that loan. We're going to help you find that. Or am I going to go to the bank and like, yeah, I used to help guys that were like losers, like get chicks. And they're like, we don't want your loan. We're not, it's the same money. It's the same money, the same amount of money, but being faceless would allow me to like just enjoy it in a different way. And I really respect these dudes. I think like these dudes are like 40, 50, 60. I want to be at that stage in life where I get older and I'm just like chilling like in the Philippines with like, I don't know, some a dog and like a girlfriend or something like that. Maybe a family in the Philippines. Like, what does he do? Like, oh, I heard he used to own a business, but he's retired now. We don't really know what he did. Something in landscaping or gardening. We don't know what he did. It wasn't popular. And I really like this idea too, because I think everybody who made lots of money didn't make it from their ego. Like the people that, how do I say this? Like they were egotistical in their success, but the people who really made it, I don't think they were egotistical. Like the guy who, like the biggest company in America in history was a company called U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel, the wackest name ever and the shittiest product. You know, who wakes up every day dreaming about steel? Nobody. But it was the biggest company in American history. You think the guy that makes like the little like the buttons here, like these little zippers that are called like YYKYZ, a little button guy, I think he just wakes up like a button fanatic. He's like a button freak. He's got a button fetish. He puts buttons on everything, buttons on his shirt, buttons on his hat, buttons on his coffee mugs. I don't think he wakes up like crazy about buttons every day. Or the guy who makes little salt packages that go in restaurants. Whoever makes those salt packages that go in restaurants, they're in every single restaurant. But he's not like a salt fanatic. He doesn't wake up thinking about salt. When he girls are like, "What do you do in life?" He's like, "I'm into salt," and he's like passionate about it. He talks about it forever. That's not what happens. He's just like, it makes money. There's an opportunity in the market. The market's underserved. I have connections or whatever. I'm going to do this faceless thing and be happy. You know, it's like these guys that are saying like in dating, the girl would rather date a guy who's a doctor than date somebody who has an online business that does Amazon and makes the same amount of money. Because a doctor is like at least a reputation because like I'm dating a doctor. I'm dating. They can brag to their girlfriends about it, like Max, he's a doctor. Ooh, she snagged herself a doctor. Who are you dating, Stephanie? Oh, I'm dating a doctor now. Oh, Stephanie's got a doctor. It's like, oh, I'm dating an online content creator. About like what is that? Like, it's better to not have that fame. I think life would be easier and better without that fame. But again, Max, that's only because we've experienced it that we say that. It's only because we've lived in mansions. I lived in 3 mansions. I think you pop in and live in the mansion once in a while too. I've driven every car. I've eaten at we talk about Steven's Steakhouse. We've been there probably 7, 8 times. I've eaten at 8 of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants. The best one being Petrus. I ate in the kitchen. They have a private table inside the kitchen in the basement. You can sit there in the middle of the kitchen while they cook. I've eaten there. There's nothing else I could possibly do. And because I've done everything, the only thing that I actually like there's nothing else let me put it this way. There's nothing I need. Sorry, there's nothing I want. Nothing I want. All my wants have been fulfilled. The only thing I need is peace and quiet. That's the only thing I need. A little bit of peace, a little bit of quiet. That's all I want. Hey, lady, you want to go on a date? Yeah, I want to like go to the beach and like get drinks. I want to like take pictures and I want to like, get the Instagram photos. Like, no, I just want a woman to come with me. It sounds so boring. I want a woman to just come with me, sit in the room. We're in my living room. I want her to sit a little bit away from me, like on the same couch. I want her to read a book, and I want me to read a book, and I want us to like not talk. This is my idea of a perfect date. And when I describe this to everybody, they go, that sounds like a horrible date. Why would I want to do that? It's because I've already done everything else. You haven't done the Steakwood Steakhouse. You haven't done the cars. You haven't done the 3 mansions. You don't know what that's like. So you want to do that. But you feel like you need that thing. You don't actually need it. You don't need it. You just want it. So anyway, long rant there, just to say that I would prefer the little simplest thing. All I want to get a nice house, a fence, a couple of investment properties, 2 dogs, so the dogs can keep each other company in the day and play with each other. A wife, like some passive income. Like I don't need the fame, bro. I don't need the fame. I don't need it at all. I really don't need it at all. The pressure to post every day. Like, I got to post again today. Like, every day, it's like a fucking Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. You wake up, you're like, I have to post something. What are we doing today? Same thing we do every day. Pinky, take over the world and post on Instagram. Like, same shit every day. Like the pressure, the posting pressure. Oh, no, I didn't post yesterday. Am I a bad person now? Oh, no, like, who am I? I didn't post. Like, if I don't have that pressure, like, that would be a great way to live life. I think, a lot of people also create that for themselves. Like everybody wants to be famous, and so they create that pressure for themselves, but it's really unnecessary. Get a faceless job, start an Amazon drop shipping or e-commerce store or faceless brand, and just like live life and be an old person. Like, like that's the shit, man. That's the shit.
Well, man, as we're slowly wrapping up the podcast, I think that was a really beautiful rant here. And like, again, it's not just a random rant coming from a random person. This is the rant from someone who's done it all. You've traveled the world, you've eaten at the restaurants, you've dated the models. I have a very special connection with you because not many people did what we did. In fact, like 8 or 9 people did what we did across the entire world in the entire history of humankind. You're such a fucking special person, Madison. You're such a special person. And you age backwards. That alone makes you special already. And
literally I have special medicine practices. Literally, that's what it is.
Yeah. And dude, it has probably been almost a decade since last time you and I talked that long. And for that, and if ever, we've done videos together and stuff like that, but I've certainly enjoyed the living hell out of this, man. And like I said, like I took a screenshot of your dates. I'm gonna put them on my calendar right after this podcast. We'll make it happen. We're making it happen here with everybody as a witness, and we're gonna go have that steak and all that jazz. And we're gonna stay in touch and have a good fucking time. How can people find you?
Everything we've put it on one page now. So Madison in person, MADISONINPERSON.com. You'll find my digital programs there. You'll find my mentoring there that I do on social skills. You'll find my travel dates of learning live in person there. Everything is going to be on that like hub, so you can find everything there to find me. Just go there, Madison in person. And bro, I want to give you your flowers too. You might not have gotten them, but every day there's like a owner or previous or sub owner of the company. It's like, Max really showed me what's possible to like work on like systems. Like he's a big systems guy working on systems, like little details in his business. And like you really made a transition to your mentoring and coaching really before a lot of us did. And so you were a trendsetter in that way. You were always a very hard worker, and you always exemplified what hard work was. And you always used to say you used to work hard because you felt like you didn't have the skills everybody else had, so you had to outwork them. Well, I don't think you need to do that anymore. I don't think you need to feel like you don't have the skills anymore. You got them, so I'm going to give you your flowers at that. Say you have the skills, and it's always putting you like one step above everybody else. And I love to see what you're doing, bro. I love what you're doing.
Man, coming from you, it means a lot to me, man. Really, really, really kind words, right? Like I said, I'm awkward when people give me props, so that's really fucking nice, man.
And then let me know what kind of wallet you want, and then we'll send you a wallet too. Yeah.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening and for watching. Go check out Madison. We're going to put all the links in the description, and GG.